What's going on, everyone? This is Steve Larsen, and you're listening to Sales Funnel Radio. Now, for the next 3 episodes, I'm actually going to do, this episode will be day 1 of Funnel Hacking Live, and I want to go through and show you the lessons I learned and kind of what some of the speakers were doing and sharing with us. And then, obviously, next episode will be day 2 and then day 3. So, the next 3 episodes are going to be a bit of an overview of the things that I learned. Let's kick it off.
Welcome to Sales Funnel Radio, where you'll learn marketing strategies to grow your online business using today's best internet sales funnels. And now, here's your host, Steve Larsen.
All right, guys, now the first thing you'll probably notice is that my voice is shot. I am completely humbled by the number of you that I met who listened to my podcast, and it was so awesome. I met so many of you. I was totally touched also by the number of you. I mean, I was not expecting gifts, but a lot of you guys, anyways, I'm saying thank you to those of you who did that. That was very nice of you, and I appreciate that a lot. And I pretty much talked for 3 straight days, and my voice is totally gone. And I was going to do these last night while it was all even more fresh in my brain, but I was like, gosh, I can't even anyway, I was like, maybe if I go to sleep, everything's going to be better, and I'll wake up in the morning, my voice will be better. And it's not. It's actually worse. I'm probably going to lose my voice 100%. So anyway, that's okay. Here it goes, though. All right. So you just have to, I guess, deal with that. I'm going to go ahead, though, and I'm going to let you know the things that I learned, the big takeaways from Funnel Hacking Live. Now, understand that what I'm going to do here is not it's not going to give justice at all for what really happened, but this is more the tactile stuff that I'm going to go over. And so the very first day that we had, gosh, it was such a good event. Oh my goodness, like everyone was going nuts, so crazy. Totally got my picture with Tony Robbins, which is crazy cool. That guy is huge. And anyway, like I'm not a small guy either, but man, he was like a full 2 heads taller than I was. Anyway, all right, so hey, the very first day, so we had Russell Brunson speak, obviously, then Todd Brown came in and spoke. Russell spoke again about something so good, and I could see everyone going like, crap, I need to redo how my whole product works, now that I've heard Russell speak. Brandon and Kaelin spoke. Jim Edwards spoke about copy. Stu McLaren came in and taught about membership sites and how to make millions of dollars with them. It was fantastic. It was amazing. And then we had huge roundtable discussions. And honestly, I really lost my voice from like the majority of really 2 things. When people walked in the door for the very first day, I mean, music was bumping. I mean, it was so loud. It was awesome. The stage looked incredible. It was so much bigger than last time. And which none of us could really believe. We were like, oh my gosh, this is just amazing. Melanie and our team did fantastic. It really, really went well. And I can't even, it's hard for me to describe everything that went on there. But as people walked in the door, I was like screaming, like, yeah, what's up? It's game day, baby. Like as loud as I could, slapping, give it hand fives to everyone who came in. I'm pretty sure I started bruising my hand. It actually really started hurting, but it got everyone jazzed up and in state as they walked into the door, which is awesome. We wanted the energy levels to go up, and because it pulled them out of their comfort zones. And I try and do that a lot of times when I'm learning things even on my own. And, all right, so Russell first spoke about creating a mass movement, and these are really chapters that are hardcore in his new book. But the main point is that you got to have 3 things in order to create a mass movement. And the first one is you need a charismatic leader. Second one, you got to be able to have there needs to be a cause. And then the third thing, I think it was a following. Crap, I should have brought all my notes with me as I was doing this, but anyway, it was so good because he started talking about this is way beyond product creation, right? Most of our audience speaks and talks and is focused solely on how do I create the funnel, how do I create the product, right? And he's like, okay, that's good, and you guys are getting really good at that as a community, but the next step is really how do you get people to it, right? Joe Polish, this reminds me of one of Joe Polish's courses, but he was talking about how marketing You think about sales. Sales is what happens face to face in front of people. And I think I've mentioned that before in this podcast. Imagine standing in front of somebody. That's how you sell them, right? But marketing is what gets them in front of your face, right? That's what turns their feet and gets them standing in front of you. And that's really what Russell talked about first. It's very tactile, how to do that, how to construct the message, how to get it and put it all together. Really, really cool. Then we had a quick break. Then Todd Brown came in and he talked more about the big idea and this idea that you could go back in history and look at other marketing messages that were killing it and just tweak those messages. And he showed you how to the whole thing was extremely tactile. I saw someone post and they're like, I learned no actual hardcore strategy. I was like, man, you must not have been freaking in the room then, because you were the only person who said that. Like, ever. I don't even, everyone I've been talking to is like, that's the best event I've ever been to related to business ever, across all business, not just marketing in general. I was like, isn't it? Yes, pretty cool. We worked our butts off for it. So we're super glad that you guys liked it. But Todd Brown talked more about how to actually get that big idea, right? The one thing, and how to construct it. And the big takeaway I got from him is that the creativity that your business requires is not in you. It's not. And he said, you have got to be obsessed with the market that you're in. And as you dive into the market and as you figure out what pieces are missing, the creativity comes from the market, not from you. And so if you're sitting there and you're not reading books and you're not digesting things and you're not there trying to get better and get your craft down, you cannot conjure the amount of creativity needed that your business needs. And I was like, that's so key, my gosh. And I started thinking back, I was like, holy crap, he's totally right. Like, anytime I've ever made a product that really has done well, it's because I have been obsessed with that market. And I found out exactly what the pain points were, which essentially told me what to build. It didn't come from me. I actually wrote an ebook when I was in college. And I talked all about this, that, man, essentially you don't need to be creative. That is like the number one thing that entrepreneurs come out and they're like, I got to create something totally new. And it's like, anyway, I'll talk about that sometime later. But I wrote an ebook that talks about, I call it Product Big Bang Theory, which is where these new ideas, I was like, oh, I got to create something totally new. And it's like, actually, the market may not even be ready for that. Let's say you actually did pull that off, which is super rare, that something you just made was totally new, not influenced by anything else. Like, that's rare. That doesn't happen very often, right? It's more about product evolution, right? And so you look at current states of things and you make an improvement on the way things are and sell the solution. And then the next person comes along and he's like, well, that's cool. That brought me up to here, but now let's go ahead and let's elevate it again. Why are there so many freaking iPhones, right? That's exactly what product evolution is. That's how huge money is made. Not by product Big Bang Theory. Half the time the market doesn't even accept it. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked, but okay, so that was like the first half of the day. It was so good. Then Russell came back on and he gave a speech about how to sell pretty much anything without selling anything. That was his headline. How to sell almost anything without actually selling anything. And he talked about this concept of right now, like you listening, right? Think about the industry that you're in right now. Think about it, and think about what it took for you to become an expert in that industry. And if you don't feel like you're an expert yet, just keep learning, right? Keep learning, and the fastest way I know to learn is to teach, right? This podcast also helps me, guys. Helps me sharpen my craft, right? Sharpen the saw and get better and better and better. I always tell people to get a coach because it accelerates your learning, and then be a coach because it solidifies it. Get a coach, be a coach. Get a coach, be a coach. Get a coach, be a coach. And that's what I gave my closing speech on at graduation when I graduated. Anyway, but so he goes through and he starts saying, like, look, as you came into this industry, whatever it is that you were in, you loved it and you started learning all the vocab from that industry. Sales funnels, autoresponders, SMTP, right? All this crap. No one knows what that is if they're not in here. And you go out, you get so excited, and the first person who you think is even remotely a good fit for a sales funnel, let's just use that as an example, you run up to them and you're like sales funnel, autoresponder, SMTP, and they're like, we call it technobabble. And technically I was like, this thing that will kill the sale always. He said, so the point of Russell's speech on that is that he said, you need to go back to the time where you had the epiphany personally, right? That you needed a sales funnel. And you have to tell that story in a way that gets them in the same state to have the same epiphany that you did. And then you don't have to be selling anything. Suddenly they'll have the epiphany. They'll realize, oh my gosh, I gotta have a sales funnel now. You know what I mean? And for me, what we calls it the origin story, right? My origin story. I've said this before, so I'm not gonna go into it because it's a big story, right? I was in college. I was trying to make a lot of money on the side, and I was doing all right at it. And I was getting hired by Paul Mitchell, the hair school. I was driving tons of traffic for him. We were building websites for some of their rising celebrities. It's funny because I was in the middle of my marketing class. And we walked up to the teacher and I was like, hey, I don't want to come back to your class ever again. I'm already doing this stuff. And he's like, cool, just show me a deliverable at the end. So I went and I worked for Paul Mitchell during those hours, 3 hours a day, driving lots of internet traffic for him. And I could get huge volumes of traffic. I was getting all these people, all these ninja ways, white hat and gray hat stuff. We were getting lots of website visitors for Paul Mitchell there. And I realized I could get tons of traffic. But I kept looking at the numbers and they're like, okay, we're spending extra money in this traffic. It's coming in. We know we're targeting, okay, but why aren't people converting? Like, how do I actually know that these people are making me money, right? It's a brick and mortar store. And that was the big challenge, bringing them from online to offline and walking into their stores, right? And that's when I realized there was a skill set out there that I did not have. And that's what ultimately led me to getting all over the internet. And I was like, oh my gosh. How do I do this? How to do this? And that's when I ran into .com Secrets and Russell Brunson. That's how I did it. And anyway, so that was the whole point of that, though, is that you need to go back to start categorizing. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Start indexing. I should say that. That's probably a better way to say it. Start indexing your stories. Okay, Russell told way over 40 stories in each one of his presentations. And it's not because he's just sitting there telling stories. It's to help us. And now that you know, okay, watch what he does. Watch what he does in his Snapchat. That's a huge, long, slow story that's going on. You see behind the scenes of what he's really doing in his own personal life, right? That gets the attractive character up. He tells stories in his podcast. He tells stories, and it's to help people have the same epiphany of need for what he's selling. Right? And that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what he's doing. And because he doesn't like hard closing people. He's not even that good at that. I'm not either. I'm not very good at hard selling. It's like, I was doing door-to-door sales. Like, that was one of the things I sucked at. I was like, man, I could come up with a sweet offer, but the best way to sell without selling is story selling. That's what we call it, instead of storytelling. Anyway, so I'm going to keep going on. So then Brandon and Kaelin Poulin came up and they talked about social webinars, and they talked about how they spent $1,000 getting Russell's funnel hacks class. I'm sure you guys have had the funnel hacks class. You've gone through it. You know what it is. It's the my weird niche funnel that's currently making me $17,000 a day, that's very low compared to what it is now. Anyway. They went through though and they started saying like, hey, I got the $1,000 thing. And all we did is we played Russell's thing for 5 seconds and then we stopped. And we implemented exactly what he was saying. We paused the video. And he's like, sometimes it would take us hours to get through the step that he just showed. And then we'd play the video for 5 seconds and stop. And Russell wanted him up there. Sorry guys, my voice is shot. I'm trying to do the best I can here, okay? But Russell wanted him up there to show you guys that you can go just follow Russell's path and just pause the video. Just pause it, do what he said. Pause it, do what he said. The first year they did that, they turned that $1,000 investment into like $300,000. The second year they did that, which is 2016, they turned it into $2.3 million. Right? Every time they saw Russell do something on social media, they paused the video and immediately did it. Right? I mean, that day they got it done, and that's how they did it. They didn't know anything about tech stuff. I know way more about ClickFunnels than them, right? The point was implementation, was getting out there and just doing it, right? And they used social webinars to do that. That was the name of their speech. So they would stand up And one of the cool takeaways I got from them is they said, hey, look, if you can do it afraid, you'll be able to make it. Meaning, it's scary sometimes to do this stuff. You know, you're like, oh, I don't want to do the webinar. I don't want to get out there. I don't want to be myself. I don't want to do a podcast when my voice sucks. You know what I mean? Right now, like they said, if you can do it afraid, people will sense that. They'll bond with you even more. And you'll be able to just take action and just get it done. And it works out for everybody. So let me keep going here. Then there's a break, and then Jim Edwards came in and he taught about copy. Now, he is the creator of Funnel Scripts. If you guys have never used that software, fantastic software. You go in, and he basically says, hey, look, copy is not written, it is assembled. And all the top copywriters in the world understand that there are elements, there are fill in the blanks for whole sales letters, right? Everything. And if you need to change your sales letter a little bit, he's like, think of it like Legos, all right? You take one little Lego out and you stick another one right there to complete the sentence. You know, how to blank without blank. You know, how to make $1 million without leaving your house. You know, how to blank without blank, like over and over again. But that works for all copy. It's not just for headlines. It works for, and he said, I became a great copywriter when I realized that copy was assembled. It's not written. And you are not a copywriter, you're a copy assembler. And you might think, okay, wow, that's not really, is that a big enough golden nugget to actually make a speech on? Well, then he started going through and he started showing us how, I mean, this is how Funnel Scripts works. You know, if you ever use the software, it's these inputs that you toss in and it spits out all your sales copy. And at the end he said, hey, the best copywriter that I ever hired is me. He's like, if you really want to get amazing at copy, he's like, Funnel Scripts is a great launch pad. It will get you there very quickly, but you have got to learn how to assemble it on your own. And he gave all the funnels and all the scripts and all the fill in the blanks that we would ever need for any type of copy ever while we were there. It was really huge value. Most of the speakers gave like something ridiculous at the end. It was really nice. It's tremendous value the whole way. Okay, then Stu McLaren came in. And guys, if you don't know who Stu McLaren is, this guy's one of my heroes. Like second to Russell, okay? What Stu does with his time is he goes out and he has something called World Teacher Aid. And anytime some of you guys, we're actually shocked at the number of people that did not know this. When you click Add New Funnel and click Funnels, and you build the funnel, as soon as 100 visitors hit that funnel, $1 automatically gets donated to World Teacher Aid. Well, we presented him with a $76,000 check while he was here. So they build literally 100% of all the money that comes into World Teacher Aid is used for building schools in Kenya, in Africa. They've built like 11 of them now. And anyway, it's really, really cool, really touching. But we were like, holy crap, 76,000 funnels with 100 people came in. That's what that means. Like, oh my gosh. But he came in and he talked about membership funnels. And what he does is he goes through and he says, okay, I'm going to make a sweet membership site, but I'm only going to spend like 2 weeks out of the whole year running it. They're like, what the heck? And he goes in and he says, okay, I'm going to go in and I'm going to on week 1, let's have an expert come in and teach something. On week 2, let's do like a live Q&A about it. On week 3, let's do like some kind of like blog or post or something like that, some other tangible item that they can go learn from. And then on week 4, we'll do like some other like behind the scenes video, like, hey, this is how I really do it. These are the little hacks I learned. And that's what he does. Well, if you look at those, week 1, 2, 3, 4, the only 2 pieces that you have to do ahead of time are are getting an expert to come in. So he flies everybody in 2 days. He interviews back to back, 12 of them, right? Preloads 12 months of content, gets it transcribed, puts it in the membership area, puts it on a drip thing so that it goes out for them, after 30 days, after 60, 90, the whole way through the year. And then he creates the blog post for it, same thing. And he gets the whole thing set. And then he presses go. And the way that he makes like $7 million a year off of membership sites, where he only runs them a couple weeks a year, is by the way he handles the cart. He does not leave it open cart all the time. He leaves it as seats. He's like, look, I treat you guys like students. I really do want you to know. He's like, so rather than these huge ups and downs in his membership sites, he will literally just, it's like stairs, steps. So it's a little up and 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 up. Because while the cart is closed, while people can't get in, there's a waiting list. And if there are times when he knows he wants a little boost in the revenue, or he might lose some numbers, he just goes to the waiting list and says, hey, look, a seat is going to open up. If you guys want to jump in, go for it. And he'll get a little boost in the sales. And that's how he handles membership sites. I thought that was a really great takeaway, and I just wanted to share that over to you guys. So anyways, after that, Russell is taking people to Kenya if they buy a school. So we're just trying to raise money for charity. We don't get any of that, obviously. That's literally straight for charity. And then there were huge round tables at the end, and it was like nonstop talking. It was awesome. It was really fun to talk to you guys because like half your questions are tactile. Hey, how do I do this in ClickFunnels? And then the other half are like strategy. Like, hey, how would you sell this? And I got to sit down with so many of you and like draw out funnels and show you how I would do this and the ways we've seen it work. And you guys know I've built over 140 sales funnels with Russell in the last 11 months. Like way more than half of them have been all on my own. You know what I mean? Right at the beginning, it was like, hey, build this funnel. And then I'd go out and I'd build it, and he'd destroy like 90% of it. Well, the percent that he's destroying is going smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Until finally, like in the last 6 months has been like, okay, cool. Hey, just change the headline just a little. And that's like it. And I was like, holy crap, that's so cool. But it's really fun to sit down with you guys and just start showing all these cool things we've been doing. And hopefully next year get a round table. That's what I'm hoping for. Don't tell Russell, but tell Russell if you want to. They're like, Russell, Steven, why aren't you speaking? Why aren't you at a round table? I was like, well, it's not my company or my call, so I'm not, maybe next time I will. So anyways, guys, that was the first day. We were there till midnight, and then we got back up. We had our meeting at 7:30, and then huge, hand slapping times the whole way, high fives coming on in, and and it was awesome again. Anyways, that was the first day. Hopefully something in there I said was of use and of value to you. Very, very awesome. I want to encourage you guys right now, if you want to. I think we sold like several hundred tickets for 2018. We sold almost 100 for 2018 right before this event actually started, but then during this event we sold another couple hundred tickets. Anyway, if there are 35 tickets, the 35 seats available for our next conference in 2018, and it's going to be at Disney in Florida. We already got the resort, everything's done, the contracts are signed, like we are going to freaking Disney. So the early bird price right now is $697. I think you can go to funnelhacking.com. Well, you can. I built it. Go to funnelhacking.com, and you can only buy single tickets right now, not two. But just so you guys know, a little inside track here. They are going to raise the price significantly higher for this one. Half of it's just because of demand and because we bring in people like Tony Robbins. You know what I mean? Like, that is not cheap. I'm legally not allowed to tell you how much money it was, but holy crap. And so get your ticket now is what I'm telling you to go to. I'm not pushing an affiliate link. I'm not telling anything else. I just would love to meet more of you guys. And about 75% of the room raised their hand when they asked if this was their first event. And I think it's because you guys were listening. So anyways, guys, fantastic time. And next 2 episodes, I'm going to go through the next 2 days here. And I think you guys are going to like this. It got even cooler. I can't even believe the first day was just so freaking awesome. The first day when Russell and I were talking about it and going through it, and we were going through slides, and I made so many images for his slides. It was a lot of fun doing it with him. But we realized that the first day is like, it's like so foundational for the remainder of the event. All right, it had less to do with, hey, make this tweak on your funnel here and get an increase in percent, in conversions. That's not what the event is about. The event is about how to sell. The event is about how to actually be the business owner. It's about how to outsource and it's how to craft your message. That's really what this was all about. Okay, and I saw a blog post from some guy, Billy Jean, and he was like, this was like the worst thing ever. Day one went by and he didn't go through any tactics. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? What he just laid down there means you don't have to strong sell anybody else ever again, ever. All right. I don't like doing that. I'd rather put that on autopilot through a funnel, and he just told you how to do it. No tactics, my butt. Anyway, okay. Don't get me started on that, because what he put out there, there's nothing else from that event. There's nothing else you could learn that was so valuable. It's pretty much more important than the offer. I have watched Russell, just so you guys know, and then I'll end this podcast. I have watched Russell many times not know a thing about the person's product, but because he asked certain questions, he knew how to sell it. Did you just have an epiphany? Because you should. About your own product. Some of you guys are so obsessed with your product, but you are not obsessing on how to sell it. They are different things. They're totally different things, right? One, you got, let's say, I was asking someone at the event, I was like, do you know what's in a Campbell's soup? What are the ingredients? He's like, well, you mean like all of them on the back? I was like, yeah. He's like, I don't know. I was like, then why'd you buy it? You don't know everything that's in it? Oh my gosh, you're crazy. You're nuts. I was like, now is that really that crazy or nuts? He's like, no. I was like, you are thinking that everyone is going to look at all the ingredients in your offer and all the little pieces and all these things. Like, that's true. The offer needs to deliver. It needs to be awesome. It's got to be amazing. But just as important, if not more, and in fact, I would say even more, you have got to obsess on how to sell it. I say, okay, now, can you tell me what a Campbell's soup label looks like? He's like, well, yeah. And he goes through. I was like, okay, now why is that? I was like, because they spent so much more time. Okay, the ingredients list is on the back of the can even, right? That's not the highlight. However, it is the product. It's got to be there. But the message, what people see, the thing that pulls people in, right? The message they put on TV of you drinking this soup while you're sick, and right, those are stories. That's how everything's sold. And so anyway, I was trying to tell someone this, like, understand what I'm saying to you, that the product is important, but you have been obsessing over your product for the last several years. I knew he was. I was like, stop, okay? It's time to obsess on the message. And it's time to obsess on your culture. It's time to obsess on all the little analogies you're going to tell and inventory your personal stories so people get attracted to you. And let's say your product got shut down or you lost something or whatever, that way people still know who you are. Does that make sense? That's the important of this, and that's really what day one was. So anyway, it's a long podcast, guys, but hopefully you guys like that. Hey guys, seriously, again, I would go get the ticket if you haven't. And I'm so excited to show you guys day 2 and 3. Holy crap! All right, guys, talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Sales Funnel Radio. Please remember to subscribe and leave feedback. Want to get one of today's best internet sales funnel for free? Go to salesfunnelbroker.com/free funnels to download your pre-built sales funnel today.